School, a place all have accepted to be the mecca of integral knowledge and basic learning for the future, has now turned into an elaborate maze of standardized testing with little to no guidance from the county. Many have worked to improve this maze, get rid of the dead ends and twisted paths, and many have poured countless amounts of time and money into plans. Despite their valiant efforts, questions about how to proceed with standardized testing persist, and the student's journey still seems more like a grueling odyssey rather than a yellow brick road. One such change are the progress checks, formerly known as the RQAs, that have replaced the final exams so many have gotten used to.
If you ask any student in Montgomery County about the progress checks, or more colloquially known as the RQA, they'll probably say one of two things. The first being that RQAs suck and that they're pointless and horrible and other negative things, or the second being that they don't really have an opinion on these tests, but are aware that they are put in place to gauge a student's learning throughout the quarter.
None of these opinions are directly positive, but do these students really have the right idea of the quality of these tests? Are they really so ineffective that they cause a countywide outcry for the reversion back to the final exams of yesteryear? That's what we're here to find out.
A policy statement from MCPS states the goal of the RQAs quite clearly, claiming the goal was to use our assessment to measure what our students are and are not learning so that teachers can adjust and improve instruction, and students may comprehend cumulative content knowledge and skills that build over the course of an instructional unit, marking period, or semester.
And these are positives that should have people excited for these exams, as they enable more time to be spent learning materials that are relevant to the curriculum. So why aren't students ecstatic for these changes?
They just don't seem to be in with the curriculum that we're learning for a lot of the classes, and they seem to be really off topic and kind of irrelevant, so I don't really know if I like them. They're kind of disorganized.
That you don't get the breaks from finals, and they're equally stressful, and the whole point of it was to remove stress during testing.
Do you think they actually show student performance though?
No, I do not think they do. I think they just show like kids memorizing things at the last minute.
But then that shows the flaw in our system, because we need something to kind of refresh our memory. And this thing should be relatively stress-free, but the RQA is just a bunch of busy work.
So you're saying that having a test for the semester is better than having it quarterly because you refresh your memory?
Yes, definitely 100%.
Now, the student's stance is rather apparent, but what do teachers have to say about these new adjustments?
So what do you think of RQAs?
I think they're ridiculous in the highest order.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So what do you think of RQAs?
I think they're silly at best.
What are your opinions on the progress checks?
I think we should go back to final exams.
If we were giving the new world languages IPAs as final exams, I think that would be the best of both worlds.
I feel, and many of my colleagues feel, like there is no one big summative assessment that requires students to be responsible for all of the material learned in a semester. And I think that that is a necessary skill for college, because there are many summative exams, and oftentimes classes only have one midterm and one final. So I think with the RQAs, we're taking away that chance for kids to prepare for those type of exams.
I think final exams were useful in preparing students for college. I think it's useful to be able to, or to have to prepare for a cumulative exam that covers a sizable amount of content. I think in my experience in college, that was an important skill. That was a big part of my grade in college.
But being able to only have to study this much material, I think it's easier for students to prepare for that. And just thinking ahead long term, when you get to AP Calculus, when you get to college, and having to know the material for a longer period of time, this is not helping everybody to get there.
Do you think they show performance? If so, why?
Zero.
Zero?
Yeah.
Because of how
because how they're set up, they don't mean anything.
So do you think they show performance of the students?
No. My students are not learning to the RQA. The RQA was basically a time hole for me. Students in honors biology at this school, and even on-level biology, are learning beyond RQA.
So if RQAs were meant to be this little measure of
how well can a student do what's given to them at that period
that's
of time.
not happening.
It's not.
Not the way English has presented it. It's if we're, I mean, final exams were much more, immediate. Here's a task, see what you can do with it without.
Not only do the testimonies prove that the progress checks have not been as effective as promised, one of Montgomery County's very own analytical progress reports may shed some more light on the situation.
Data from these progress reports shows how the 2015 class averages, when finals were around, was higher than the class averages of 2016, who bared the burden of being the RQA test subjects. Yes, in 2016, the Algebra 1 PARCC scores rose from 30.5% to 32.7%. However, with the exams in place, 40.6% of the 10th graders taking the English PARCC in 2015 met expectations compared to the 37.9% that met them the following year. With the new testing in place, there is a general decrease overall in proficiency in learning. With some differences in opinion, though very few, the conclusions that can be drawn are clear. Some of the promises that MCPS made stand tall, but most fall flat. Teachers lack the time to be able to grade as efficiently as they did in the past, and instruction has lowered in quality, as grades had dropped on standardized tests like the PARCC, all most likely due to the lack of instruction time and difficulty adjusting to the new system. While the vision is optimistic, very few consider it to be commendable, the truth being that these quarterly assessments are only a mere shadow of the former semester exam that they were made to replace.